Bonsoir, Ani. Good evening, and welcome to our regular council meeting. Before we start into the agenda tonight, I want to give out a shout out to, it was Renee's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Renee, again. But especially to our longest serving counselor who will be turning 90 on Monday. So on behalf of Council Dean, we want to wish you a very, very happy birthday and thank you for being on council for all these years. You certainly bring a historical memory that helps all of us here who haven't been on council very long to guide the municipality through the good and bad. And I wish you another 90 years. You know, you're the first at doing different things, so why not? And you could be the longest serving counselor, maybe beat Hazel from Mississauga. So anyway, Dean, I wish you a very happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, thank you.
You're quite welcome. So I need a resolution to adopt the agenda. So a move by Renee and Randy. There are no additions to the agenda, Madam Clerk. So all those in favor? Thank you. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. Tonight we do have a delegation, and it's Samantha from BrokerLink, and she'll be presenting the 2022 Municipal Insurance Program renewal. So Samantha, there you are. Oh, there you go. So welcome, Samantha, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Before I get started, I'll just make sure everyone can hear me all right.
Yep.
Okay, good. Yes, thank you, Your Worship, Council. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight about the 2022 Municipal Insurance Renewal. While I do have the opportunity to work closely with members of staff, I don't often get the opportunity to correspond with Council, so I'll give you a very brief introduction on myself. My name is Samantha Elliott. I am the account executive or broker for the municipality of French River, representing BrokerLink Insurance. There has been a long-standing relationship between the municipality and Rive Insurance for a number of years, and it is my pleasure to maintain that relationship moving forward since Rive Insurance was acquired by BrokerLink in December of 2020. I am a RIBO licensed broker. I also hold my Canadian accredited insurance broker designation, and I specialize in public sector lines of business with a focus on municipal risk management. Before I jump into the specifics of the municipal insurance renewal for the 2022 term, I just wanted to very quickly give a little bit of background on the goings-on of the municipal insurance marketplace and the market conditions that we're currently facing. I don't think it's a secret that municipal insurance premiums continue to increase. There is growing concern about recent and historical trends affecting the cost of municipal insurance. And I certainly appreciate the pressure that municipalities face in managing their budgets and the additional financial pressure that's created by increasing claims costs and the resulting increase in municipal insurance premiums. So I think it's really important to have these opportunities to speak to why these costs are driving upwards. There are a number of areas that impact the cost of municipal claims. All the providers of municipal insurance are being impacted by this increasing cost of claims, and they therefore need to respond in order to ensure that premiums are adequate to pay for these claims.
I think I'm just muted.
These cost factors are the fundamental reasons why the municipal sector is currently in a hard market and the cost of claims is driving premiums. I'm only going to touch briefly on a few of these factors to try to keep my presentation short this evening. I could speak for hours about it if I was allowed, but I will pass on an article to staff that they can hopefully forward to yourselves. It's published by your insurer, Intact Public Entities. And it gives a really good broad look at current market conditions and those numerous cost factors in more detail than I could possibly provide in my 10 to 15 minutes this evening. Probably the most significant factor driving municipal premiums upwards is the long tail nature of municipal liability claims. This, of course, refers to the tendency for claims to be presented many years after an incident occurs. And then that claim could take, several years to settle. Understandably, it's then very challenging to forecast what the courts may award a plaintiff, several years, sometimes even decades in the future. And this, of course, results in increased defense costs as well. In addition to the long tail nature of municipal liability claims, municipalities, of course, also have to deal with the negative impact of the 1% rule or joint and several liability, whereby municipalities can be on the hook for 100% of the damages, even if they are found only 1% liable. And further to those challenges in municipal liability claims, municipalities are also being negatively impacted by a lack of apportionment of liability in our current legal landscape. Court decisions are showing a reluctance to assign contributory negligence to claimants that have been catastrophically injured. And of course, large damage awards are becoming more frequent. Court awards for severe bodily injury claims have increased dramatically in the last 10 years, and this is primarily due to the increasing costs of providing future care for catastrophically injured plaintiffs. In addition to that changing legal landscape, other factors that are undeniably driving municipal claims upward include climate change and the increased frequency and severity of catastrophic weather events. What we used to consider a 100-year storm is now occurring with increased frequency. Insurers also attribute increased claims costs to the rising frequency and severity of cybercrime and cyber-related losses, as well as transit claims. I won't touch on those in too much detail, but the article that I'm going to forward gives some really good insight into those factors specifically. With all of that being said, I think it's pretty clear that the cards are kind of stacked against municipalities as well as the providers of municipal insurance. What we're seeing in the marketplace now is a reluctance for providers of municipal insurance to quote on new business. That competition is really reducing. Where we used to see up to 4 bidders participating on a municipal insurance RFP, that level of participation has dropped. In some cases, there's only one, or sometimes even they can't even find, an alternate provider to come and offer a quote. I have seen providers decline to quote if the municipality who's seeking quotations has already obtained terms from their current carrier at less than a 20% increase, because they just simply won't be competitive. Just to give you an idea, we are seeing municipal insurance renewals coming in at an average increase of anywhere from 15 to 30%. This year, I personally have delivered a municipal renewal increase as high as 41%, and I have heard of even higher from my colleagues in the industry. With all of that as a backdrop, the Municipality of French River's insurance program is, of course, made up of the Intact Public Entities Package, formerly Frank Cowan Company, the Volunteer Firefighters Accident Coverage through VFIS Insurance, and the cyber insurance policy through CFC Underwriting. Speaking to the Intact Public Entities Package, which of course includes your liability, property, auto, crime, board members, accident, etc. This has come in at $179,355 for the 2022 term. And this represents an increase of $32,049 or 21.8%. from the prior term. If you have an opportunity to review the renewal report, page 17 provides a cost analysis, which will break down the premium increase by each line of coverage. And in reviewing that cost analysis document, you will note that the bulk of the increase is under the auto portion of the policy this year, followed by the liability and then the property. The auto premium alone represents $18,410 of that overall increase. And there's two driving factors behind that significant auto premium increase this year. The first, of course, being the claims experience on accounts. We have had 2 auto claims since 2020 with a net incurred amount of $94,479. The second factor driving the auto increase is not exclusive to this account. It's actually due to the Intact Financial Corporation acquisition of Frank Cowan Company and the Guarantee Company of North America, as announced back in August of 2019, I believe it was. And this year, all auto coverage has been renewed through Intact rather than the previous carrier of the Guarantee Company. And the transition to Intact's filed rates from the guarantees has generated a significant auto premium increase for all accounts. This is a one-time rate adjustment that is impacting all accounts. And unfortunately, currently, we are not aware of any other auto markets that are providing competitive rates for municipal auto fleets. As you can understand, it's an incredibly difficult risk to insure just due to the nature of municipal auto fleets. We have fire vehicles, public works vehicles. So we do continue to monitor that situation, and we will advise if we're able to secure an alternate and competitive auto market. But at this time, there's just nobody else out there that's offering competitive rates to Intact. The liability portion of the program has been subject to standard rate increase as per the insurer's guidelines. This is due to overall market conditions and is applicable to all municipal accounts. And you know, we spoke to earlier issues such as joint and several liability, lack of apportionment of liability. These are all contributing factors in increasing municipal liability premiums. We do have the option to increase deductibles under the liability policy for some savings, although I would suggest those savings would be fairly minimal. I don't know if staff has had the opportunity to pass on those figures, but I'll just quickly go through them. Under the liability of the casualty portion, we are currently sitting at a $10,000 deductible. To increase to a $15,000 deductible would generate $1,042 in savings. A $25,000 deductible would generate $1,823 in savings, and a $50,000 deductible would generate $5,463 in savings. Under the errors and omissions, we are currently at a $10,000 deductible as well. Again, we have the option to increase to $15,000, $25,000, and $50,000. $15,000 deductible is only $115 in savings. $25,000 would be $201, and a $50,000 deductible would be $603. We also have that option under the environmental impairment liability. We are currently at a $5,000 deductible there. We could increase to $10,000 to follow suit with the rest of the liability coverages. That would generate $340 in savings. $15,000 would be $453 in savings. $25,000 deductible, $540, and a $50,000 deductible would be $935 in savings. Moving on to the property portion of the program, this has also been subject to standard rate increases as per insurers' guidelines and due to overall market conditions. Again, as we spoke to earlier, catastrophic weather events increasing in frequency and severity is really driving property premiums upwards for everybody, all classes of business. But this especially has a negative impact on municipalities who by nature just own so much property. In addition to standard rate increases, all property values have also been increased by 4% to reflect inflationary trends. We also have a new open claim from 2021 under the property with a reserve amount of $29,750 so far. Again, we have an opportunity to increase property deductibles to secure some savings, although again, fairly minimal. We currently sit at a $5,000 property deductible with the option to increase to $10,000 for $891 in savings, $15,000 for $1,426 in savings, $25,000 deductible for $1,782 in savings, and a $50,000 deductible for $2,673 in savings. The VFIS Volunteer Firefighters Accident Renewal has been offered at an annual premium of $2,138, which is very similar to last year's rates. We're not seeing the same kind of increases under that coverage. However, the cyber insurance renewal through CFC has been offered at an annual premium of $4,435 plus tax this year. This represents an increase of $1,060 from the prior term. As you can imagine, cyber premiums continue to trend upwards as the frequency and severity of ransomware claims especially continue to increase globally. Municipalities continue to be a pretty desirable target for cyber criminals. And unfortunately, due to the high demand for cyber insurance, there isn't a lot of capacity in an already very small pool of cyber insurers. We still strongly urge all of our clients to maintain this coverage in place, as the cost of cyber insurance is still significantly less than the potential cost of a single cyber attack. To sum that up, the total premium as offered for the 2022 municipal insurance program, so that includes the intact package as well as the VFIS firefighters accident and the cyber policy, is $185,928 plus applicable tax. In an effort to not leave this on a negative note, I don't want to come before you tonight and just be all doom and gloom. I do want to speak to what municipalities can do when faced with the challenges of ever increasing municipal premiums. I think it's more important now than ever to take the opportunity to look inwards at your approach to risk management, claims management. I really want to encourage my municipal clients to look at insurance as a service rather than just a commodity. Your insurer offers some really great value-added services in terms of risk management, including road and sidewalk inspections, driver training, contract reviews, educational seminars, and much more. And I think it's a really good time to look into some, if not all of those services. You're paying the premiums anyways. You might as well take advantage of the services that are offered as part of the package. After all, the best way to keep total insurance costs down is by preventing claims before they happen. And I think we need to focus on the factors that the municipality can control, which of course is our approach to risk management and claims management. And it's my hope that the municipality can look at the insurer as well as the broker as your partners in risk management as we move forward. I believe that concludes my comments, Your Worship. Thank you, Council, for your time.
Thank you, Samantha, for your presentation, but not for the 21% increase in our insurance premium. It's a little hard to take when we see over $185,000 going just for insurance premiums, but it's the nature of the beast. While we have you here, I'm going to open it up for anyone who may have questions for Samantha. Or just look. Is that you, Rick?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi there. Thank you for your presentation. Just a few questions here. So Yeah, I'll have to sum up that the 185,000 is a crazy price premium for insurance, but so be it. But as you were talking about the savings for some of these deductibles, I mean, from a math perspective, I don't think it makes much sense because it only takes one claim in those 5 years, and you've blown away those savings, because the savings is about equivalent to the difference between 10,000 and 15,000 is about $1,000. So it takes you 5 years to save it, and if you only have claims in 1 year or 2 years, then you've blown that equation. So I mean, the savings is not really a savings opportunity. But the question that I have is that I think you might have explained it, but I'll ask it again. Is most of the premium increase based on our own claims, or is it based on the general claims as a whole and the liability of municipalities as a whole? And I guess the other question that I would have to that is that, are there not any alternatives with respect to bulking municipalities together, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, so that's a great question and some great points. I do agree that the savings offered in increasing deductibles really aren't worth it. Like you say, it takes one claim and those savings are out the window. With respect to, sorry, 1 second here.
Oops. I think we may have lost Samantha.
No, just the video.
Oh, just the video? Okay.
Maybe not.
We'll give her a minute to get back. I know it just happened to me there, just as I touched a button, which I'm not allowed to touch. And then I went offline.
I didn't think my question was that harsh. While we wait, I mean, I'm just from an analysis perspective, maybe the question for Mark or Mark, like the 185,000 represents roughly about 2% of the whole budget. How much is that in comparison to other municipalities? Are we way off the mark, or are we in, or excuse the pun, but
hello. This represents about $47,000 increase for the municipality. I didn't have a chance to pull the other municipalities, but I don't believe we're way off from the other ones.
Hi, my apologies, Your Worship, Council. It appears I'm having some connectivity issues here, part of the joys of technology working from home.
Yes, go ahead.
I do apologize. I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Councillor Millett, could you just repeat? I know you had asked about, you had made a comment about the deductible.
yeah, the other two questions were, is our increase based on our own claims only, or is it general perspective? And the other portion was, are there any other ways of saving premiums, not only for our municipalities, but other municipalities, and having some kind of a big blanket clause as opposed to every municipality for their own? So I don't know if that exists, or if the government's even looking at having any discussions with respect to that.
Certainly, I think, you know, it's undeniable something's got to give somewhere. These increases just aren't sustainable for municipalities. Whether that's going to mean the government stepping in, perhaps looking at changing legislation so the impacts of joint and several aren't so harsh on our municipalities. It'll be interesting to see which way that goes. Insurers are certainly looking at potential solutions for municipalities, including the opportunity to pool together municipal insurance, especially for you know, these smaller municipalities. That is something that I think is going to become more common as we move forward. if that is something that the municipality would like to consider in the future, I would be very willing to have that discussion with your insurer as well as with council. In terms of the increase being driven by specific claims experience on account as opposed to just general market conditions, both are certainly factors in premium increase. I think there's so much going on behind the scenes. It's hard to say exactly how much claims contribute to the increase if we're talking dollar amounts. I can tell you that these double-digit increases are primarily driven by market conditions in general, as opposed to individual claims experience. The claims run for French River really is not terrible in comparison to some of the claims experience, the claims runs we see from other municipalities. I think that speaks to some really great risk management practices at your municipality. Unfortunately, these claims paid out do drive premiums up. And it's such a small pool in the industry for municipalities, and it's like Madam Mayor has said, it really is just the nature of the beast. I can speak to the open claim under the property that is having an impact. Open claims with reserve amounts. These numbers are such a moving target. Insurers tend to look at worst case scenario when rating based on open claims. So that is having an effect. But I think the 21.8% increase is just primarily driven by market conditions as a whole. Yes.
Thank you. I believe Renee, did you have a question?
Well, perhaps. So I know some businesses in the area that have insurance through BrokerLink, and we just received some nice checks from BrokerLink. Because does that include municipality? Would they be a part of that or not? Or
I believe those checks that everyone is receiving, a lot of those would be a result of the demutualization of economical insurance. So businesses that had been with economical insurance are receiving checks, as well as policyholders for personal insurance. Economical insurance is not a provider of municipal insurance, so unfortunately that's not going to result in checks for the municipalities.
okay, thank you.
Darn. I have Dean.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Dean. No, you're still on. Oh, there you go.
Say that there's a check that's on its way.
Okay. Once again, thank you, Your Worship. My question has to do with is it BrokerLink's experience that smaller municipalities are receiving larger increases or about the same as the larger municipalities? And I'm kind of curious as to whether the percentage of our gross expenses that's going to insurance is more or less than it would be in the larger municipalities. And I guess that maybe that's a kind of a loaded question, and maybe you're not in a position to really answer that. But I just wonder if the smaller municipalities are at a more disadvantage in terms of acquiring better rates than the larger municipalities are.
It's a difficult question to answer. I will say that providers of municipal insurance are a little more hesitant to quote smaller municipalities. But I will also say that larger municipalities tend to have more claims, which drives their municipal premiums upwards. I think it's all kind of relative. I have large municipalities that are receiving 21.8% increases as well. I think insurance providers really take into consideration sizes of municipalities when rating, and they try not to pick on the smaller municipalities due to their size. But I don't think there's a huge difference. All municipalities are being subject to the same rate increase.
Well, the last question that I have is, if we were to use the services of the insurance companies in terms of trying to reduce our exposure or bring our loss ratio into a better situation, is there a chance that we could really help our insurance premiums if we were to engage these folks to come and look at our different parts of our operations and see where we might do a better job of protecting ourselves with risk management?
I would say certainly yes. It won't be, an automatic discount just for employing those services. But in the long run, if it helps to mitigate loss and reduce the frequency of claims, certainly it's going to have a positive impact on municipal premiums moving forward.
Might be worth the effort rather than worrying about higher deductibles.
Yeah, I think Mark wanted to respond to that. Can't hear you, Mark. Isn't technology wonderful? Can't hear you still.
Your mic's on mute.
Yeah, no, I think he's having trouble with his sound on his computer.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Just to add to Councillor Winborn's comments, when we did do the switch from BFL over to Cowan, we did do that risk analysis assessment study, and there's some things that we did implement. There's some things that were cost prohibitive, but here we are with the over 2 years, close to 40% increase in fees again. But certainly those are things that staff look at all the time and work with our agent on numerous occasions to try to reduce our premiums as best as we can.
Thank you. I believe Councillor Randy, did you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. My first question was somewhat answered, I think, by Mark and Dean. I was going to ask Samantha if we were to implement some of those training programs that she was talking about earlier, would there be a reduction in the cost for us as a municipality?
And again, it wouldn't generate an automatic discount just for employing those services. But I will say these municipal insurance providers do like to see when municipalities are taking a proactive approach to risk management, and these are factors that will be considered, moving forward.
Because I can see as one, at least one of the things driving the automotive claim was a not at fault accident for the municipality. Some of these were out of our control regardless of how much training we accepted. So, it's the market itself, I think, that's troubled. I would like to see, perhaps if council was in agreement, to have the clerk pen a letter to both the Minister of Municipal Affairs and AMO, asking them to research the market and see what effort they can do. Ultimately, it almost sounds like the province is going to have to take on the market themselves for municipal insurance, because the providers aren't going to touch us anymore, or they're very limited. It seems that perhaps that might be, I know in BC, they do the auto through the government. And if the market isn't there and we do need this protection, I would like to see the clerk send a letter to AMO to ask them to advocate on our behalf. This is the second year that we've seen double-digit increases. That joint several liability is a huge drag on municipal costs. And I think it's time that, we need to send a message to the province and to AMO that we need them to advocate on our behalf to look into this. I understand it's out of the control of the market. They set based on risk, and us asking all we want isn't going to affect that. So we need the province to step in.
Mark, did you want to respond?
Yeah, I may be able to help, Councillor, as AMO's already on top of this situation and have started soliciting municipalities for resolutions for the provincial government to look into the matter. It's been an ongoing issue for the last 5 or 6 years. And it just so happens we were just waiting for additional information to bring something to council in the near future to support AMO's position.
Yeah, and I would like to see us pen something in the near future.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Again, thank you, Samantha. And I believe, councillors, we do have a resolution to renew our insurance. And I need a mover and a seconder to renew our insurance. Dean and Dave.
Thank you. So it is duly moved and seconded. We resolve that council approves the municipal insurance program renewal with BrokerLink Inc. for a 1-year term period from January 15th, 2022 to January 15th, 2023 in the amount of $185,928 plus PST.
Yeah. All those in favor? Thank you. Carrie, again, thank you, Samantha, and you're more, Randy, do you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, I did vote to carry, but I had a quick questions for Samantha before she left that just came to my mind.
Sure.
Do we have to use an in-provincial provider, or is this something, is a regulation keeping us from going to the European market or to the US market to provide these services?
Well, actually, when you get your insurance package, it'll say intact public entities, but you'll see they have a number of carriers that provide separate lines of coverage, which includes the Lloyd's of London and international carriers. So they are definitely looking at other providers, that they're not just domestic.
Okay, ours is currently go domestic?
Most of the reinsurance people are European.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, thank you, Samantha. Much appreciated. And you're more than welcome to stay and listen in to the rest of the council meeting. They're riveting. We have a really great council meeting. So if you want to stay for the next hour or so, you're more than welcome to do so.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Council. I do apologize for the technology issues, and thank you for your time this evening.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll go back to items on the agenda. And the first one is the mayor's annual report. I normally do it in December, but for some odd reason, I just couldn't get it done. So tonight is the night. So let me get started. So as we enter our final year as council, I never thought that I would be speaking about COVID in the present tense in 2022. I was certain that once vaccinations were made available, COVID would be just a bad dream. It seems it's a never-ending roller coaster for everyone. Once again, our facilities were closed for most of the year as COVID continued to be a thorn on our side. We quickly adjusted and began doing things differently. The Alban Community Center became the mass vaccination center for a good part of the year. Thanks to our recreation and bylaw departments and to our volunteer firefighters and dozens of community volunteers, they all ensured that members of our community, as well as many others from outside our area, were treated with dignity and respect as they lined up for their jabs. As you may know, French River continues to offer vaccination and boosters twice a month at the center. COVID also brought some challenges to our municipalities, some good and others not so good. With provincial restrictions, we saw a loss of revenue from both the arena and the Alban Community Center. We also saw the cancellation of two major annual events, the Richelieu Family Baseball Tournament and the annual family hockey tournaments. Just these two events brought thousands of visitors to our community. As well, it's the second year in a row, the Parade of Lights, the Stuff a Cruiser, the Holiday Train, the seniors' weekly lunches, our municipal volunteer night had to be canceled. Even the November 11th Remembrance Day activities had to be modified, thanks to the Legion and our veterans. Who knows what 2022 will bring? There were two significant projects that council approved and staff implemented. The first is what feels like the never-ending trailer bylaw. It has taken almost 5 years to get through. It hasn't been met with open arms by some members of our community, mostly because of misinformation and misunderstandings. However, this much-needed bylaw will ensure that our lakes and rivers remain safe, and it will finally allow short-term summer accommodations. Unfortunately, there is a delay in implementing this bylaw, as there are two appeals going before the Ontario Land Tribunal to stop a developer's changes to his commercial property. We're hoping this will be resolved this year so that we can proceed with the enactment of this bylaw. The second is the implementation of the Environmental Committee's recommendation regarding waste management. Council approved the removal of the Whistler Bay bins and the moving of the Noelville bins further back in the Public Works yard. As well, on a trial basis, the Noelville site is only open when the landfill is closed. Additionally, the municipality increased the staff complement at the landfill and hired a full-time bylaw officer who is spending a great deal of time monitoring the various bins. These changes brought an onslaught of complaints from our constituents, especially those who got caught at one of the bin sites and were fined $384 for illegal dumping. The word is getting around that if they abuse it, other measures will be put in place. The curbside recycling pilot project, also recommended by the Environmental Committee, is before you tonight for decision. I hope it will be successful in bringing down our contamination rate. Staff has begun the much needed process for the assessment of the landfill expansion. Our landfill is at a critical stage in its expectancy, and it is imperative that measures are taken as soon as possible. These two major initiatives have taken countless hours from our municipal staff, and for this I thank them on behalf of council. While the municipality faced some financial challenges in 2021, I'm pleased that over the last 3 years, we were able to keep the municipal tax increase between a modest 1.9% and 2.9%. Aside from garbage, the topic of roads is a priority on every ratepayer's list. This year, we invested almost $700,000 in road restoration. These road improvements clearly illustrate how well our road program is progressing. The two-stage method of preparation 1 year and the completion the project in the second year demonstrates how the work should be carried out and what we get as a result. In the last 3 years, council has invested almost $2 million in road repairs. This does not include any of the day-to-day maintenance costs. It should be noted as these are major changes and priorities for our roads, and it must continue. 2021 is also the year of beautifying our community. The purchase of the flower hangers and the work that the members of the Recreation Committee, volunteers and staff who made this possible did not go unnoticed by our constituents. It's hard to believe just how many positive comments we all received. In addition, the artist's painting on the plow at the Public Works Yard is just incredible. And let's not forget our magnificent municipal sign on Highway 69. It should be noted that our taxpayers appreciated having the cemeteries and the parks groomed so well by our Public Works Department. Even more exciting was the announcement in the winter, in March, I believe it was, of the $1.2 million grant to renovate the Alban Community Center. The renovations will include the retrofitting of lights, accessible washrooms and doors, a new kitchen with actual working appliances, a much needed generator, a multi-use outdoor recreational pad, and much more. Renovations will begin shortly, and I look forward to its completion. We also received grants to replace the header in the arena and to renovate the interior of the Public Works building. We finally saw the completion of the Accessibility Nature Trail located behind the municipal office. You can see just how much people appreciate it, and it's being used by many. This year, the edible forest will be planted throughout the trail. Speaking of edible forest, one was planted at the splash pad in Alvin last fall, thanks to the hard work of many volunteers. The park musical instruments have not only been purchased, but have arrived and will be installed in the spring. Thanks to the very generous and continuing funding from the Canado Foundation and the Lamontagne family, the work at our newly Wally Lamontagne Park continues. All health and safety concerns have been addressed, and people are enjoying the beach. New equipment, including a large swing, will be installed this spring, and many others, thanks to another substantial donation of $16,400 from the Canado Foundation. The foundation's generosity doesn't end with the park. They have also donated an additional $4,000 to our food bank. As a municipality, we are also grateful for their continued support. This year, the municipality also sold a couple of surplus lots in Noelville. The proceeds of the sales will go to improve the Joe Chartrand Park, where equipment will be installed for both the young and not so young. The plans are exciting, and I look forward to having this come to fruition this summer. We are still awaiting approval for additional funding for this project. The municipality supported several other community projects, such as the stunning mosaic painting located at the entrance of the municipal parking lot. This project was spearheaded by our health center, Univie, where 100 members of our community each painted one section of the mosaic. Additionally, we sponsored our local school, La Rivière des Français, in their very ambitious outdoor project that will gather students outside for fun, learning, and games. It will also provide a cultural space for all to enjoy. The Cyril Monette Monument was completed, and I proudly stood beside our Métis community and the West Nipissing Historical Society as we honored our first settler. It was shameful that someone purposely and willfully tried to destroy this newly erected monument. However, the municipality will continue to support our Métis families and the Historical Society, and we will see to it that it gets repaired. I want to recognize the work of our library has done over the last year. For most of the year, our libraries have been closed to the public. However, through the creativeness of the staff, they were able to offer off-site programs to children and adults alike. These programs were not only fun and educational, but were quite creative. As well, a selection of books and other material has grown substantially and is appreciated by its users. When COVID began, governments made funds available to meet the needs of the most vulnerable in our communities. It was suggested to us that we open a food bank, and we did. Last year, I reported how surprised I was to see how many families in our municipality were in need. By the end of 2020, we were serving an average of about 25 to 30 families. Unfortunately, numbers increased in 2021, and now we assist between 50 and 60 families each month. Thanks to DSAB, they continue to fund our food bank with approximately $30,000 in grants for food and grocery vouchers, and they recently purchased an industrial fridge and freezer in the amount of approximately $10,000. With this equipment, we can begin to bring fresh fruit, vegetables, milk, and other perishable items when they become available. Additionally, we are extremely grateful to individuals and businesses that continue to support our food bank through cash donation. They are truly valued. Our community has also come through with various donations in goods. For instance, the food bank received an amazing donation from the Hungry Bear restaurant in October. As they closed their doors for the season, they had extra foods such as hamburgers, pogos, fries, hot dogs, etc. Our dairy farmers donated milk, while other farmers supplied the food bank with potatoes and other vegetables throughout the summer and the fall. We were also able to assist Denis Prévost and his Christmas basket volunteers with much additional food. In the spring, we formed a partnership with the Brit Community Food Bank. Their food bank is part of a group that received excess food from restaurants, grocery chains, and producers at various times of the year. I couldn't even begin to imagine how much food was being made available to us. For the first time that we went there, it took us about 6 or 7 cars and trailers to bring all this food home. I was in awe when I saw the enormity of this donation. Thanks to our volunteers and our volunteer firefighters, they managed to unpack and store everything. With this excess in non-perishable, the food bank was also able to assist our local schools who want to ensure that no child comes to school hungry. Since then, when Brit receives an excess food, we get a call, and sometimes, well, most of the time, without much notice, to come and get their surplus. This has been remarkable. Just last week, the call came in and we were able to get some fresh vegetables for our families. It was at the last minute and I reached out to the Rapids to see if they could assist us. And they did. Within an hour, the entire team was there to unload the trailer and to help us sort the food. I've never seen so many carrots, cabbages, potatoes, lettuce, oranges, and other produce in my life. And it was truly appreciated by our families. As you can see, we've accomplished so much this year, even with the challenges of COVID. I know I've missed many other highlights. There has been delays in projects because of shortages in material and staffing. We have some challenges, and some of them include securing funding for major projects such as the reparation of the large culvert and road on Montigny, the sewers and the sidewalk repairs, the high-speed internet in our area. Council members have participated in many ministers' delegation, both at the provincial and federal levels. We've also been lobbying extensively to get high-speed internet in our area. This year, we also face substantial increases, as you just heard, in our insurance premiums, fuel costs, and materials, and once again, an unreasonable increase in our public health levy. Even with these challenges, I'm certain that we will be able to continue to offer the same level, if not higher, level of service to our constituents by doing things differently and thinking outside the box. In December, Council approved a compressed 4-day workweek pilot project for our office staff. Throughout the pandemic, we found that work can be done differently. This pilot project is on a volunteer basis. Staff members choosing this option will work longer hours during their 4 days, but then will be able to enjoy a 3-day weekend every week. There is no cost to the municipality, and it offers our citizens an additional 2.5 hours a week of service. This initiative garnered much publicity, but more importantly, I felt it was a way for council to show staff members our appreciation for everything they do for our municipality. I know I've said it before, and I'll say it again, staff members, whether they are outside or any level of office workers, our volunteer firefighters, our shared services staff members, and I include our valued library workers, they make every member of council and our municipality look good. They continue to implement council's policies and bylaws, and they do so in a respectful and professional manner. We thank them wholeheartedly. Councillor, this is our last year as this current council. I don't know about you, but even with the challenges, I've had a blast. We have a lot of work to do in the next months, and I look forward to seeing all our new projects come to fruition. This council has been amazing. Even though we do not agree on all issues, we've had some lively discussions, we always find a way to come to consensus for the betterment of our municipality. And for that, I thank you. As always, it is a pleasure and a privilege for me and an honor for me to serve as this municipality's mayor. I know New Year has come and gone, but I still want to wish everyone and your families a very happy New Year. Stay safe, healthy, and hopefully COVID will become a thing of the past. Thank you, and let's get some work done. All right. So let's move on. We have an update for COVID, and I believe, Mark, you're going to give it?
Not sure what I can say to follow up that, Madam Mayor.
Not much.
Not much. I'll try to keep it brief. You know, as you mentioned earlier in your in your report, didn't think we'd be talking about COVID in 2022, but here we are again in January talking about closures and talking about step 2 of the roadmap for reopening. So keeping brief, municipal operations at the office continue. We limit 1 person at a time within our front entrance. Council meetings, as you can see, it has returned virtually as long as the new orders are in place, which limits gatherings of 5 people indoors, 10 people outdoors. Municipal parks and playgrounds remain closed, including the Alban Community Center, the Noelville Arena, and the Fitness Center, and will remain closed until hopefully we have some clear directions by the end of the week from the provincial government and from our local health unit. The nice thing, or the good news, the Alban Community Outdoor Rink continues to operate thanks to the volunteers and Councillor Randy who coordinates it and with the 10 people limit outdoors. And with the closure of the arena, the staff were creative and came up with a suggestion to create an outdoor rink behind the arena on the ballpark along with a skating path. And I'm happy to report has been extensively used since it came into operation on January 9th, the first weekend. And I congratulate staff for coming up with that idea at Parks and Rec, and it'll keep going this year, weather permitting, and thank you very much. I'm happy to report that we were fortunate as a municipality in cooperation with the Ministry of Health and the Canadian Lab Services to be able to distribute about 1,300 rapid antigen tests to our community on January 4th and 5th. We still have some remaining. We are distributing them from the municipal office, 1 per household. So people are welcome to come in and pick up a kit. And our office hours, as mentioned, with the new extended hours from 8 a.m. in the morning to 5 p.m. in the afternoon, in the evening. Finally, clinics, vaccination clinics are still scheduled. So we have one at the Alban Community Center, January 22nd, February 8th, and February 22nd from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Walk-ins are available. We strongly suggest that you do book an appointment for assurance, and the availability of first dosage, second dosage, booster dosage, and the pediatric doses will all be available. That's the quick update, and hopefully we can return back to council chambers in the near future.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions for Mark? Yes, Bob.
Yes, just a clarification, Mark. I believe the vaccination clinic is on the 25th and not the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, yeah, January 22nd, February 8th, and February 22nd. Sorry.
January 25th, Mark.
Yeah, January 25th, February 8th, February 22nd.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments? Seeing none, let's move on to 5.22, quarterly report from the clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If we may, can we allow the chief building official, Andrea, to report first? Since
Sure.
She is reporting at both meetings tonight here and in St. Charles.
Sure.
So she is ready now.
She's ready now. So that, okay. Andrea?
Thank you.
I don't see her.
I'm here.
Yes.
Hi, hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Thank you. I do have a goal this year of not always asking to be first on your agenda, but I'm glad I was able to hear the presentation so far. So I'll just continue the good news from the building department. 2021 was a record year in the area, as far as I can tell. just quickly to touch on it, I'm happy to be here. We did come to an agreement between the municipalities of French River, Killarney, and St. Charles to move on with the shared service. But the really big news is how busy the municipality of French River is building. Construction costs were, our cost of construction came in at last year. We collected over $140,000 in building permit fees, and really the total construction being over 13 million really speaks to how busy we were, with 35 new home starts, which was also much more than we have had in past years. And most contractors I've spoken to say that they're booked this year and going into even 2024. So I don't see it. Well, we'll see what happens. Who knows in this world, but I anticipate at least this year will be busy.
All right. Continue.
Sorry?
No, sir, continue.
Okay. Other than that, we were able to stay within our allotted times to be able to issue building permits. So we didn't have any massive delays. And also, as far as shared service reporting goes, we will continue to track that data even with the 3 municipalities going forward. And also use a bit of a different calculation that we're using with our new agreement. So you might see some changes to upcoming reports. Other than that, I'll touch briefly on what the bylaw department is working on for possibly presenting new bylaws and information to the municipality in the coming months. I'm working with the clerks of our 3 municipalities to update our complaint policies, to try to get efficiencies and some sameness across all 3 municipalities. I'm working on dock bylaw. Parking and property standards are being reviewed and updated. Animal control is being reviewed. And I'll be speaking with the clerks as well about adding administrative monetary penalties to many of our existing bylaws. And I'll also be reporting in our next meeting about concerns and giving information and concerns about short-term rentals in the area. I know that that's been something that people have been hearing about, and I've been promising a report. It'll be coming at the next meeting of council. And if you have any further questions about bylaw question, or if you have any questions about building, maybe we'll address those now. And then if there's anything going on with bylaw, we can speak to, or Kevin Benvenuti may want to speak to some of that for you.
Okay, I have Randy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. So you mentioned bylaw or the building permit fees capturing $14,000 or $140,000 plus. Those costs, do they only offset your department's costs, or do we put a portion of those aside for development? What's your opinion on some point looking at a development fee for infrastructure in the community, because development is expanding quite rapidly? And again, do you have any rough estimations on the number of builds that you project for this year? Because usually by January, people start permits to get ready for build season. Andrea, thank you.
Sure. Through you, Madam Mayor. I do not have any projections at the moment. It's really been slow this month as far as new applications go, which is fairly typical for us. People are taking a bit of a break at the moment. I can only go by contractors who say that they don't have any room for new builds at the moment. So we were busy right up until the end of December with new building starts. So that's where I'm anticipating hopefully another busy year. As far as the building fees are concerned, our fees are really meant to cover the building department. It is within the Ontario Building Code Act. It states that the fees that we collect are supposed to be to cover the cost of the building department. So any further development fees, that would be something you'd probably have to discuss with your treasurer. I don't have a lot of experience with the idea of producing development fees for the area.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. I was just curious because maybe a 1 or 2% development fee could help us further develop parks and infrastructure like wastewater. We're having storm drain improvements that are needed and wastewater improvements, and perhaps those could help relieve some fiscal strain on the community. Thank you.
Any other questions with regards to the building department? Yes, Bob.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. It's not a question, it's a comment. I had the pleasure to meet one of my neighbors here on Bear Lake, which moved up from Barrie. And when he found out I was on town council, he had nothing but praise to throw at me for our building department. And he mentioned Andrea and he mentioned Bruno, how they were good to work with and they were there to help. And thank you to the building department to make us look good also and doing their job, a good job.
Thank you.
Just quickly, they might have also meant Sylvie too, because people think Sylvie and I are the same person since they talk to us on the phone so much. So we'll just say a little shout out for her too. Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Bob.
Any other comments with regards to building? Seeing none, any comments or questions with regards to bylaw? Seeing none, thank you, Andrea. Job well done as always. And it's exciting to see our municipality grow. I know it's a lot of work for your department, but for us, it's a good thing happening here. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, you can go off to your next meeting now.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I'll turn it back to Mel for your report.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you hear me correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. So from my report, I would just like to highlight a few things, especially in relation to elections. So 2022 is election year, comes by so fast. So voting day is Monday, October 24th. And this term is going to be the first time that the new council term starts on November 15th. Typically, new council terms would start December 1st. So this was a change in the Municipal Elections Act during the last review prior to election year 2018. Also, I'd like to mention that some changes have occurred with this review from the Municipal Elections Act. The nomination period will begin on Monday, May 2nd, but our nomination day will now be on Friday, August 19th, which was moved from the fourth Friday of July. So this will create a longer campaign period, or a longer period for candidates to add their names, and which is okay. And at this time, I'm doing preliminary research on alternative voting methods. So at the next council meeting of February 2nd, I'll be presenting council with a report to consider internet and telephone voting as an alternate voting method. So we've conducted our last 4 elections using vote by mail. So I think it's time to consider an alternative voting method other than vote by mail. So I will be presenting that at the next meeting. And that is it for elections. Are there any questions?
Any questions for the clerk on her report? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll move on. Oh, I know we're not done yet. We still have to do the appointments, right?
No, that was, I just want to highlight a few other.
Sure.
So in the same topic as development, as Andrea has reported on the building, there's also a trend in property development. So in my report, you'll see I have a table that shows lots created throughout the year. So from 2016 to 2021. So from 2016, there was 3 lots created, so through consent applications, and in 2021 there was 16 lots created. So that is a huge jump throughout the years. So I just wanted to highlight that as well. And also through planning, we are in 2022, we'll start in phase 4 and 5 of the official plan review. So right now we're just waiting to work with our consultants to set up the timeline for the next steps. And so the draft plan has been created, but we're just waiting for timelines to come back to council and to follow up with the next consultation periods. And that would be it, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you. So we'll just move on to 5.2.3. So we have 5 resolutions, to replace Councillor Randy on various boards and committees. And we have to do them each individually. So I'll be asking for a mover and a seconder to appoint the individual as listed in your agenda. So I will start by appointing, the first one is the appointment of Councillor Bob Prevost as the chair of the Environmental Advisory Committee. And so I need a mover and a seconder for that one. So moved by Rick and Renee.
Thank you. It is duly moved and seconded. It resolved that council appoints Councillor Bob Prevost to the Environmental Advisory Committee and as chair of the committee as well.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. I need, the next one is the appointment of Councillor Dave Vio to the Economic Development Advisory Committee. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Renee, seconded by Rick.
Duly moved and seconded. Be resolved that council appoints Councillor Dave Vio to the Economic Development Advisory Committee.
All those in favor? Thank you. The third one is the appointment of Councillor Bob Prevost to the Recreation and Community Advisory Committee. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Dave and seconded by Dean.
Duly moved and seconded. Be it resolved that council appoints Councillor Bob Prevost to the Recreation and Community Advisory Committee.
All those in favor? Thank you. The fourth is the appointment of Councillor Dean Wenborn to the Public Health Sudbury and District Board. Moved by Bob, seconded by Dave.
Duly moved and seconded. Be it resolved that council appoints Councillor Dean Wenborn to the Public Health Sudbury and District Board.
All those in favor? Thank you. The last one is to appoint myself to the French River Library Board. So I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Renee and seconded by Bob.
Duly moved and seconded. Be resolved that council appoints Mayor Giselle Pajot to the French River Library Board.
The mayor is already ex de facto on the board.
I know, but now I'm a formal board member.
That's right.
You formally are though, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you. All those in favor? Or did I already ask that? Okay, thanks. All right, thank you. Let's move on to finances. We have your quarterly financial report. I believe Mark Fiody is somewhere. Oh, there he is.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You have in front of you my fourth quarter report and some activities that occurred in the last quarter. We started the budget process for 2022 which included a special council meeting on December 7th for planning and direction and a review of council priorities. We also issued an RFP for external audit services for the term of 3 years plus a renewable for an additional 2 years. And the firm Baker Tilly SNT LLP Chartered Professional Accountants was a successful respondent. There was a decrease in taxes receivable of 245,000 compared to last year, and it represents 33% of total tax receivable at year end. This will enable the municipality to achieve the 10% ministry's benchmark for tax receivable as a percentage of taxes collected. It's been our ratio on December 31st, 2020 was 12.5%. So this is a good news. And also we started tax sale proceedings on 8 properties by registering tax arrears certificates on title in December. The owners and interested parties have 1 year to pay the full cancellation price, which is the total taxes and fees. Failing this, there will be a tax sale on those properties. I just want to highlight the fact that the tax sale is a last resort. These properties, some of these properties, they're not local residents, so they're nowhere to. We cannot locate the residents or the taxpayer, sorry, and that we had no other alternative but to proceed with the tax sale. You have any questions on the activities?
Any questions? Renee?
You're saying that the residents of those properties are not from the area. We don't have their address when they buy property out here?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yes, we have the address. It's just that the return mail, they change their address, never notify the municipality.
and there's no way of following up on that with a driver's license or nothing like that. I guess
The
that's
lawyer-
not something we
have lawyers that register tax arrears certificates. They have more means better means to do search for current addresses. So they do that search.
okay.
Yes.
And then the process after that, so they have 1 year from the date that you file. And then
And
after
you-
that,
Yes, you have 1 year from the tax arrear certificate, the registration of that tax arrear certificate to pay the cancellation price, which is all fees, the taxes and fees. Failing this, it goes to a public tender.
okay.
I have,
We reach these people.
I have Rick next.
Thank you. Through just a quick question. So what's the total of that tax in arrears that we're collecting?
The total, how much, sorry? The
What's
arrears?
the total? Yeah, what's the total?
About $90,000.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. Any other questions for our finance? Seeing none. Thank you, Mark. It's nice to see some tax being collected, some arrears being collected. So that's an excellent sign. So that's good. We'll move on to 5.4, Public Works and Environmental Services. We have the chair's report for the Environmental Advisory Committee with recommendations that are before you. Randy?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So just a quick rundown of what we went through at the last meeting. We received a report presented by Kevin Speck of the Ontario Clean Water Agency. He outlined the condition of our lagoons and lift stations and what maintenance and repairs needed to be done in the coming year to maintain the lagoons. Then the committee heard about the Waste Management Bylaw 2010-26. There was revisions to the bylaw, which we went through as a committee. We asked several questions. Then we went on for the information report on the curbside recycling proposal that we are going to see here tonight. And then we had a roundtable discussion. We discussed a little more about the cameras and such that are at the waste transfer sites and how that project has gone, how we are modernizing our waste management systems. And then I signed off for the last time from that committee, and thanks the members involved. It was a great time I've had serving on these committees, but as I have have to make time for my my election. I'm running for the PC party as the MPP of Nickel Belt. So I've stepped back from these committees to serve canvassing.
Thank you, Randy. I believe that we also have Kevin online somewhere because we now have these recommendations made by the Environmental Committee for the curbside recycling services pilot program. So, oh, there you are. Okay. Kevin, did you want to?
Yep, for sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, tonight we just have a little report for the tender results and recommendations from the Environmental Advisory Committee. It's just to award the proposal for curbside recycling services, the pilot program. The Environmental Advisory Committee met in December, at which time reviewed the results and the information for the pilot project. The committee has motioned to recommend to council the award of the proposal and to include Part D, which includes all the options for pickups. That's urban areas, Wolseley Bay, connecting roads, and the high density areas for bi-weekly recycling services. The Environmental Advisory Committee also suggested that 890 households included within the servicing areas be provided with 2 blue boxes at no cost to them to promote the usage of the program. For budget, both items were not included in the 2021 capital or operating budget, but they will be included in the 2022 operating budget. Costs associated to the curbside recycling pilot program and Blue Box initiative will be funded by the Municipal Modernization Fund received by the municipality in 2019. The municipality currently has 494,000 of modernization funds available. The Blue Box initiative, based on 2 blue boxes for 890 households, would be approximately $20,000, which will include our municipal logos and the freight. So for recommendations, we're recommending to council to award the contract for curbside recycling services and for the Blue Box purchase. So if anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Kevin with regards to these recommendations? Rick, is that your hand that's up?
Yes, thank you. Through you. Just maybe clarification so that the public is a little bit aware. So a few questions. So when are we planning on starting the pickup? And I'm assuming, so this is going to be every second week. Will everybody be on the same day, or are we going to be all changing the dates for different locations in the area?
For sure. Through you, Madam Mayor. So it'll be one day, and it'll be, yeah, like you said, every other week. So, and yeah, so I believe, I'm sorry. So your other question was, Councillor,
are all 890 households being all picked up on the same day, or we're going to have alternate days during that week?
No, they will be the same day.
Everybody on the same day. Okay.
Councillor Renee?
So just looking at this, it says 890 households, but there's 19,576 stops. Is that for like the year, or the 19,000 is for a year, for 6 months?
For you, Madam Mayor, I'm not sure which stops you're looking at. Was that because was that for weekly you were looking at, or
the Part D recycling, right? Because you're recommending the Part D.
Yes,
for all the homes.
Yeah.
It says bi-weekly 19,576 stops for a total. Oh, I guess I answered my own question.
Yeah, it's
40,000 per year. Sorry about that, Kevin.
890 times 2 times 26 weeks. So
yes, got it.
Also, I believe, Richard, one of your questions was, when is this going to start, or when do you predict it's going to start?
Yes.
Yes, through Madam Mayor. Sorry, yeah, that is the question. I did forget. We would need a resolution tonight, and it would depend on how long Blue Box, how long they are going to take to get here, because we're not sure about materials nowadays, just with all this COVID stuff. So once we know that and we can reach out, then we will have a better idea when the program can start.
Okay. Any other questions? Rick?
Yeah, sorry, I guess piggyback to my last question. So the timing, so of course we'll figure that out when we can. But how are we going to let people know that, let's say on March 15th, first pickup is going to happen?
Through you, Madam Mayor. So we are going to actually drop each of these, deliver all of these blue bins with a package to each household that will be receiving all the information. As well, we will have our program, our recycling sorting program online that we do run. So there'll be an attachment to that will have a schedule, an online schedule, and people can sign up for email alerts, and then we'll let them know in advance when their pickup will be. And if there's any interruptions in service, like a snowstorm or whatever, they will get an email letting them know. So,
all right, thank you.
Okay, Randy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. So I just wanted Kevin to clarify for the public that we are hiring out to a third party to do the pickup service. And my question to Kevin would be, if there's a complaint or an issue, would the person or the property owner then contact the third party to rectify an issue that came up? That way the public knows that third party is actually offering the service and collecting the recyclables, plus the bins. Are we delivering them, or is the third party actually delivering them when they arrive? How is that also being handled?
Through you, Madam Mayor. For the delivery of them, we will deliver them ourselves between Public Works and Environmental Services. Just that way we know we can track that everybody is receiving the information and there won't be any questions on that. So that way just makes things a little more streamlined. So yeah.
So for the complaints process.
Oh, the complaint process. Yeah, it's all laid out, and there's any member of the public could contact the municipality first for us, or the party through our new app system that's going to be on the website. So
yeah, just important that the public knows that we're tendering out for the service. That's all. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, Madam Clerk, I believe we have 2 resolutions.
Yes, that's correct.
One to award the curbside recycling service pilot program to an external person. So I'll need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Randy, seconded by Bob.
It is duly moved and seconded. Be it resolved that council awards the contract for the curbside recycling services pilot program on a bi-weekly basis in all areas listed in the proposal to GFL Environmental Inc. for an amount of $40,940 for year 1 and $42,577.60 for year 2, plus applicable taxes. And further, that council approves that the costs associated with the curbside recycling pilot program be funded by the Municipal Modernization Fund.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. On to the second one, which is for the 2 recycling containers. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Renee, seconded by Dean.
Duly moved and seconded. Be resolved that council authorizes the purchase of recycling blue boxes for the amount of $20,000 plus applicable taxes to provide at no cost 2 boxes to each household within the curbside recycling service area. And further, that council approves that the costs associated with the Blue Box initiative be funded by Municipal Modernization Fund.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you to the Environmental Committee. We'll move on to the 5.4.2 quarterly report for Public Works. And I believe Martin is on. Oh, there he is. To you, Martin.
Good evening, everyone. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to get the computer going. Everybody can see me, I believe. Perfect. Good day. So tonight we're going to discuss the quarterly report for the last quarter for Public Works. I'm just going to share my screen quickly and we can go through it like that. Can everybody see what's going on? Yes, no, maybe?
Okay, go ahead.
Perfect.
Yes, okay.
So last quarter, very similar to previous years, not too much in fluctuation. I'll just go over each line item, and if anybody has any questions, just please cut me off, let me know. So first line item, we have the roads barricaded. We had one road that was closed for a period of 2 days. It was Bon Vivant. We had a washout. The culvert gave way during a heavy rain, and we had to close the road for approximately 2 days and get French River Contracting to come in and help us bring back the road. Besides that, we have our vehicle breakdowns. So these are tracked by days. So once the vehicle is down, that day we cannot repair it and goes on to the following day. That's what we count 1 24-hour period. So we actually did pretty well this quarter. One of our plow trucks was down for a couple days. Nothing major, just parts. We required parts. I think one of the air brakes had to be replaced. We were waiting on parts. Our backhoe was down for 20 days. We had a cylinder malfunction. So the arm of the backhoe kept lowering itself by itself. So we ended up having to bring it in, and we had to get a rental unit for approximately 3 weeks until it was repaired. No issues since we got it back. And the old bylaw truck was down for 5 days. Again, nothing major, just waiting on parts. For our minimum maintenance standards, we have our flood control. This is basically when we have water over roads or when we go in steam culverts. So far, so good. So far, really good in the last 3 quarters. Washouts, that was our road that we lost. Snow plowing events, there was nothing before. Sorry, so this is snow plowing events. We also have a combined event. This is the combined event. So when you think that we didn't go snow plowing, that's not true. We did snow plowing and sanding. So we did 12 days of just pure sanding, 0 days of pure snow plowing, 10 days of snow plowing and sanding. So these are our major winter events. No roadsides were installed in the last quarter. No rain or wind storms. And we had about 46 calls for services, which is basically on point. We had total of this year with 259 and 272 of last year. So we're in the same ballpark. We're getting the same amount of calls every year. And we have our contracted services. These are our beavers and street lights that we track. So we had 8 street lights that were out of service, and we got 10 that were back into service. That's because there was 2 that were out of service last quarter, and we managed to repair them this quarter. Roadside operations, we had 10 areas that we were trapping. We caught 66 beavers this quarter, which is very high compared to the previous quarters, but they were crazy. We kept getting calls. There was a point in October where we got calls probably 3-4 times a day just about beavers. It was ridiculous. Beaver dams removed, 6, and no flooding on our roads and no issues with our sidewalks this year. Our key highlights, we have our rehab of Prevost Road was completed. Public Works Advisory Meeting and Public Works Safety Retrofit. Oh, and the building. So the building is now almost complete as of today for Public Works. We have upgraded our lunchroom. So now we have room for our employees to actually have a good meal. Originally, we had room for 2 people to have lunch, and we have a crew of 12. So now we have room for our crew. Currently, we're just waiting on the floor to come in, and the whole shebang should be wrapped up. So hopefully in the next week or so. And that's it for me. If anybody has any questions.
I see Councillor Randy and Martin. Before Randy asks his question, can you take the your presentation off, because I can't see the councillors. Thank you. Randy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, I would first just ask Martin to clarify the upgrades to the building and the only being able to inhabit 2 people at lunch versus the 12 you need was due to COVID, not because of the building deficiency, correct?
Correct. So originally we could have 4 having lunch at a time as a building deficiency, but with COVID we could only have 2. So that was very substandard.
Just that way, just the public knows that it wasn't necessarily, it was COVID regulations that caused us to do these improvements, and that the provincial government provided funding to do those upgrades.
That's correct.
Okay, and then the second question, which probably goes to Mark, our accountant. Snowfall in November was very slight, December as well. We're very light, just started to get our first or second major storm. So we're probably well ahead of our snow clearing and road maintenance budget. Can you update us to where we are and where we're projected to land if everything keeps going?
Thank you, Councillor Randy. We're projecting a decrease in the winter controls in 2021 by about $50,000 roughly. We're waiting an invoice from our contractor in Albin, B. Thomas, but we're forecasting to be within budget for sure. We had a nice spring and a nice fall.
Knock on wood, hopefully we can keep it up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
I'm not.
Thank you. Any other questions for Martin? Seeing none, thank you, Martin, for your report.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the quarterly report for environmental services. So Kevin, oh, he's back. There you are. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Tonight, I'm just going to read the 4th quarterly report for Environmental Services Department. I'd just like to go through some of the stats. Obviously, the numbers for removing bulk waste are down. I think that has a lot to do with the Noelville site being closed while the landfill is open. That's helping out quite a bit. And obviously just the colder weather, not as many tourists. And for the first time I think I've ever seen, our contaminated materials for recycling is only at 30%. So that's great news. That's to do with the bylaw presence and obviously changing the sites around a bit. So that's good to hear. For our key highlights for the quarter, EXP, our engineering firm, provided draft revisions for the environmental assessment for staff review. Also, EXP completed our fall monitoring at the Noelville landfill site, all the test wells. Environmental Advisory Committee was held on December 8th, and our wood grinding was completed in the last quarter. So, any questions?
Any questions for Kevin? Seeing none. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank
and
you.
I'm glad to see that recycling number start to go down.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's very nice. It'll get better. It'll get better.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to 5.5. Quarterly report for Parks, Recreation and Facilities Department. And Bob, I see you're here.
Good evening. Yes. We started off well in the 4th quarter with the Rapids and the minor hockey. Unfortunately, we had to shut down early in December. So the numbers are down from what they should be. We also had started public skating and senior skate, which we also had to shut down in mid-December from the directives from the public health unit. Some of the key highlights for the quarter were the Hall in Albin being used for vaccination clinics. And we released the RFP for the lighting system at the Albin Community Center, which should be done I say by mid-March.
Randy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. Quick question. I know we're talking about the RFP for the lights a little bit later on in the agenda here, but the RFP for the backup generator, that's something that goes on the outside of the building and probably could be accelerated. When are we expecting to release that RFP?
I was waiting for our engineers to give me some specs on it. They're working on them right now. Hopefully they'll have them ready by the end of March so we can issue the tenders.
So it's in process. That's good to hear.
Yes.
Secondarily, I was going to ask you about the vendor offering the canteen services inside the arena, which is now closed due to COVID. I know last year we had to step in and offer them a bit of a discount or rebate. Is it the same vendor, and have they come forward yet to ask for some sort of relief?
It's the same vendor and they have not come forward as of yet.
Are we expecting maybe something or no?
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, okay. Just so that we're aware of it. Thank you.
Okay.
Other questions for Bob? Okay. So then with that, then we'll just go into the resolution to award the contract for the retrofit of lights and washroom accessibility at the community center. So I'll need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Renee and seconded by Dave.
It is duly moved and seconded. Be it resolved that council awards contract 2021-16 to DMC Electric and Mechanical Systems Limited for an amount of $42,567 plus applicable taxes.
Thank you. Were there any comments with regards to this resolution? Seeing none. All those in favor? Thank you. And thank you, Bob, for your report.
Yep.
All right, we'll move on to 5.6, which is Emergency and Protection Services, quarterly report from the fire department. Oh, there's Zadak. So I'll turn it over to you, Zadak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll go through the key highlights for the fire department. This quarter, the fire department responded to 12 emergencies with a grand total of 75 emergencies responding in 2021, which also beat our year of 2018, where we had our big forest fire season, which it's an increase for the members. Burning permits, this quarter, we only had 3 sold 10-day permits and a grand total of 89. Complaints and public education inspections, we had 5, which is a total of 18, which is starting to be an increase. We're being a little bit more proactive with our fire prevention officer, Kevin, and we're going to be more proactive in the 2022, especially with cottages, and to see if they're compliance with the standards. Training, this year we had 14 training sessions for this quarter, making it at a total of 43, which is a great increase. This is due to our first aid training, which was the biggest amount. Average firefighter responding in a 24-hour period. We have an average of 7 to 6 firefighters at all time, which I would say it's a little bit more than that, but it's depending on the calls and time of day. Percentage of calls are mostly during the day and in the afternoon. Late at night, we were at 0, which was a great. Most of our members always had a good sleep. Equipment checks, 6, making a total of 26 for the year. Agreements, there's nil. Recruitment and retention, there's 1 new recruit at the Noel station, which is a great uplift for that station. Update for fire department. Firefighter completed their emergency first responder course. A total of 18 firefighters are fully certified, which also will bring a new tiered response agreement with our partners EMS, which will be brought to council in 2022. And our tanker 1 in Noelville completed some major repairs and some upgrades to prevent our pump from freezing. Any questions?
Any questions for the fire chief? Seeing none. Thank you, Doc, very much. All right, let's move on. Andrea has already spoken and given her report, so we'll move on to 6. Madam Clerk, there's no correspondence?
There are none.
None. So I need a resolution to adopt the items contained under the consent agenda. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Renee and Randy.
Duly moved and seconded, be it resolved that council approves the items of the consent agenda under section 7.1 and 7.4 and receives the items under 7.3.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. There are no notices of motion, Madam Clerk? No. None? Let's go around for announcements. We'll start with a most senior Councillor Dean. Any announcements?
Well, not really. I don't have anything to announce. I'm looking forward to the year as it progresses here, and it seems like we're off to a pretty good start, and especially the way last year ended. And I'm looking forward to a good year. I'm hoping that the water level situation will turn out to not be too difficult. So far, we certainly haven't had a lot of snow. But I don't know whether that might be good or bad, but I never know till spring, I guess. But in any event, no, I don't really have anything else to say. I just congratulate council on a year that I think we did very well in, considering the handicaps we worked under and so forth. And I'd like to comment on the mayor's comments tonight. I thought they were good and very comprehensive, and keeps all the public that are interested aware of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And so looking forward to a good new year this year. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, I'll move on to Councillor Rick.
Thank you. I guess more of maybe a question statement. I know today that there was a Zoom meeting with the minister for broadband strategy, and unfortunately, I was scheduled to attend, but I had a conflict of Zoom meetings, so I wasn't able to catch on. But I guess the province is I guess the question, I'm not too sure myself if what they're announcing is actually new funding or just reaffirming fundings that they've promised before. And I guess my question would be for us to think about what strategy we have in order to lobby these both levels of government, provincial and federal, moving forward. I mean, the provincial going into an election and the federal have already done that, and now we've got the same government in sight. So in place, I mean, and you know, what do we see in sight with respect to French River area for broadband? And I've seen a lot of chatter, especially in the last several weeks, about people asking questions about different carriers in the area, and a lot of people are responding and with certain things. But all in all, I mean, you know, the issue is very serious, and there's not a full-fledged service that will fulfill everybody's needs in our area. So I think it's an important element for us to move forward on. That's all I got.
Yeah, and just to answer your question, both Mark and I attended the webinar with the ministers today. It was all recycled information, with the exception of we finally got to see a list of the 51 providers that are in the competition for funding, and I believe 2 or 3 of them are from Northern Ontario, and so that's I took that as a good thing, whether or not our mapping hasn't changed or anything like that. So we're not scheduled for any full-fledged connectivity for a while yet. Mark, you want to comment as well?
Yeah, just a quick comment is basically a lot of information was shared in terms of the pre-authorization of 51 internet service providers. As the mayor mentioned, there's 3, 4, potentially 5 in Northern Ontario, which bodes well. They also talked about the competition of these now approved providers in the lots that were distributed across the province for underserviced and not serviced areas, of which French River falls under lot 39. So basically, now they're in the process of opening up the competition or auction, as they called it, to bid for government funding to be able to service the different areas within the province, of which we're lot 39. And there was a potential cost associated of approximately $60 million to service our area. So lot 39, for the public's information and council's information, is the municipality of French River. Goes all the way down to Wolseley Bay, at the end of Wolseley Bay Road, goes to Killarney, all the way out to Merks Day Warren, and encompasses St. Charles as well, and a small portion of West Nipissing. So hopefully by this spring, there's some news that they'll be sharing in terms of who bid on that particular funding opportunities in terms of trying to service our area with 5010 services. So that's the quick, brief update from what we got from yesterday at this point. So,
And just to clarify, there was no new funding announced at all. So it's still the same funding as it was between the feds and the province. So no new funding.
Yeah, same money, new promises. So.
Well, let's see what happens with this auction, and hopefully our number 39 will be a good number and will come up for one of the successful programs. So I'll go next to Bob. Anything from you, Bob?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone on council. And I know some of us been able to meet, but others with the times. So all the best to everyone. You mentioned it in your report, Madam Mayor, and I have to take my hat off to this person, Monsieur Denis Prévost, for all the work that he put in for the Christmas baskets. He served over 95 families, 4 boxes of food each. That's close to 400 boxes of food that he collected, that he put together with a handful of good volunteers. He coordinated everything. He got the drivers for deliveries. He had countless hours that he just gave, and he did a great job, and my hat is off to him. I would also like to thank Bob, Martin, and Parks and Rec staff for going ahead and doing a second ice rink in the area. And I visited a couple of times. It's very nice. It's being used. And also to Randy to coordinating the Alban ice rink. I'd like to say in a lump sum, thank you to all our volunteers in the municipality. One last thank you to you, Madam Mayor, for your address tonight, for your leadership, for making us look good. Merci beaucoup. And that's it.
Thank you, Bob. And you're right, Dennis is integral part of our community, and I'll have a little bit something to say about him in a minute. Next, I have Renee.
Pretty much everything that Bob said. Thanks to the staff for the outdoor rink. It's amazing. Randy for keeping on the one in Alban. People are enjoying it. Like Bob says, the amazing volunteers we have within the community. I think it's important for us to recognize them. They help out a lot. To all the staff for putting up with all our demands. I know council, sometimes we have a long list, but you guys, you know, we're good and have been able to help us realize a lot of our dreams for the town. So thank you. Keep up the good work. And Giselle, I think your speech was amazing once again. And thank you very much for being, like Bob said, an excellent leader and a mentor to all of us. So let's hope 2022 is as good of a year as what we've, you know, been able to have for the past 3.
Thank you, Renee. Now I see next one is Randy.
Hi, nothing much, Madam Chair, to post this evening. Just a quick that I'm going to go on my way to the Alvin Community Center after the meeting tonight and flood the ice surface, so it'll be prepared in the morning for skating. It's very well used, and happy to see lots of participants on it this year.
Great. Thank you, Randy. Dave.
Hi, thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have anything to announce tonight. Thank you.
Mel or Mark, do you have anything? No? Okay, I just wanted to make a few comments. I was going to talk about the broadband, but thank you, Rick, for bringing it up. Denis, thanks to Councillor Renee, she nominated Denis Prévost for a provincial volunteer recognition award, which was given to me to present to him, which I did during as they were getting ready to load up all the wonderful boxes of food for Christmas. Not only did they get canned food, but I believe they each got, or most of them got, a turkey and a ham as well. And so they were pretty loaded up. So I presented the certificate to Dennis, and he was quite touched. Of course, he thinks he wasn't deserving, but we all know differently. Also with Dennis, because our food bank coordinators are on vacation in Florida, Dennis, without even blinking, offered to help us continue the food bank, which will be open tomorrow. And when I spoke about last minute call from Brett, where we got all the vegetables, it was thanks to Dennis, who took the drive up to Brett and loaded up this huge trailer of fresh vegetables and fruits for our people. So he's quite outstanding. As I mentioned, the food bank will be open tomorrow from 9 o'clock to 9:30 to 1 o'clock. And we'll continue to offer the services for our needy people. So quite thrilled. I want to thank you, everybody, for everything that you do for the community. And like I said, we have a lot of work to do in 2022, so we'll get at her. So with that, we don't have a closed session tonight, correct? And I need a resolution to adopt the confirmation bylaw. So moved by Renee and seconded by Randy. All those in favor? Thank you. And a resolution to adjourn. I need a mover and a seconder, Rick and Bob. All those in favor? Thank you. So bonsoir, good night. Be safe, everybody, and we will see you February 2nd, which will be our next meeting. Don't know if it'll be in person or live. We'll let you know.